Joining us tonight, with us in Los Angeles, California, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carole Lieberman. Great to have you both here. Dr. Carole Lieberman, your thoughts about the impact, the relationship of Johnny Depp and his mother, and the impact that it's had on his life, on who he is, and where he is right now inside this courtroom.
I think it's had a tremendous impact. You know, at the beginning of his testimony today, it was kind of a heart-stopping moment because he was talking really slowly and he couldn't find words and he couldn't make sentences, and it was hard to figure out whether this was because he was nervous or because he was going to act or because he didn't know what he was going to say, or did he take? It even seemed like maybe he had taken some pills. But anyhow, then he started flowing in a more consistent kind of way. But that just showed what I think it really was the emotion. He knew he was about to tell the story of his life. And the story that he just told about his mother, that came after his having told about all her physical abuse and emotional abuse. And he said that the emotional abuse was worse. And he talked about his father taking it, and the reason why his mother tried to commit suicide was because when he was 15, his father left. So, both of his parents, I mean, he talked about seeing his father take his mother's brutality, just all the things that she did to him as well. So, yes, I had said at the beginning that this case is about Johnny Depp having married his mother, that, in other words, Amber Heard was abusive, just like his mother.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, Janelle Weinstein staying with us. Let's bring back in our guest, family law attorney Janelle Weinstein, forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, columnist, Dr. Carole Lieberman. Dr. Lieberman, what are your thoughts about Amber Heard's reaction, lack of reaction, however you want to describe it, inside the courtroom today as she listened to Johnny Depp?
Well, there were two distinct kinds of reactions. Earlier in the day, when he was telling the most intimate, painful details of his childhood, his mother, his father, the abuse, and so on, she was looking at him in a way that was softer, sort of taking into consideration how like as if she had never seen him be this vulnerable before. I think he was incredibly authentic and vulnerable and gave really great testimony. But then what was interesting was he was going on for a very long time about his childhood, and then all of a sudden, her attorneys objected to something. It was right when he was going to talk about what he found out for why his father left after all these years of his being abused, of their all being abused. And for some, Amber's attorneys objected and stood up and broke this train, broke the mood. The mood was very much sympathy towards Johnny Depp. And I think that's why I don't know if they picked that spot for a particular reason, but they wanted to change it and get off this, everybody, it's almost like you wanted to go there and give him a hug. I mean, I was surprised to hear that the young man, maybe it's because they were, trying to look just like stoic or whatever, but you felt really sorry for him. And then they changed, and when they started going into his career and so on, she changed. The whole mood changed in the court, and she got colder. And when he was talking about her, I mean, granted, he has been talking about her in a more pleasant way than one might have expected, and more than she might have expected. But that whole thing about her not wanting him to take off his own boots and all that, that's because it goes back to her not wanting to be abandoned, her fear of abandonment. If he starts taking off his own boots and doing things for himself, he's not going to need her as much anymore. She wanted him to depend upon her.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, let me ask you about that moment. I mean, there's nothing coming from her at certain moments of all this. Does a jury want to see you maybe smile for a second? Does a jury want to see you feel something? Like, I understand you get advice from your counsel. You don't want to show anything because it could go really south one way or the other. But to me, it's very like this. It's almost, as you said, cold and detached from something that is so raw, so real, and so personal.
Yes, I think because she's sitting there in that without any expression for the majority of it, because or at least the last half, it does kind of go along with what Johnny's attorneys are going to present in terms of her potentially being the aggressor. And yes, she did. I mean, according to what he said today, she was the one who came to his trailer, after they had been finishing for the day on the set and so on. And it did really seem like she was the pursuer. And now with her coldness, when he was saying all these really revealing his pain, I think that could go against her. She did seem softer certainly than she was the other half, but it's hard to listen to somebody talk about all that and not have any kind of compassion. So it goes along with her being able to be abusive. It makes it more real that yes, indeed, she might have been the abusive one.
Yeah, I'm still feeling. Right now, I was in the courtroom last week. I'm not in the courtroom, but I can feel the tension. And in this relationship, and she's going to testify as well at some point, and we'll see if there's a change there. But wow, Janelle Weinstein, Dr. Carole Lieberman, thank you so much for helping us out tonight.
Thank you.
This stuff is tough to read, and we're in foreign land here. This is not a criminal case; it's civil. It's really a family law case, even though it's a civil case, Janelle. So we appreciate your time, Dr. Carole Lieberman. We'll see you again as well.